Good evening, everyone. My clock says it is 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, so we'll start getting underway and allow those that are still logging in to join us. Welcome to Stepping Stones to AAC. Let's play with Play-doh and blocks. I hope you are ready for some fun tonight with Play-doh, and we appreciate you joining us. And we will start off with some introductions. We want to thank you again for joining us. I'm Heather Prenovo. I'm a speech-language pathologist and assistive technology consultant for Saltillo. I am the consultant for Minnesota, Wisconsin, and portions of Iowa. And I also have Brittany Toney with me, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello again, everyone. My name is Brittany Toney, as Heather said. I am a speech-language pathologist, and I am a consultant for Saltillo in Southern Ohio, Northern Kentucky, and Indiana. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Brittany. And Brittany will be moderating the chat window for us this evening, and she'll help answer questions that arise and make sure that I see them as we go along. And so we wanted to welcome you to our virtual classroom here. Getting your child an AAC system is really exciting and scary all at the same time. And so we often see and hear things online that show kids using their devices really independently and for lots of different communication opportunities. But the reality is it doesn't happen overnight. And we need to practice their system as much, if not more, than they do, so that we know how to help them with it. So our goal for these Stepping Stones to AAC trainings is just to take you step by step on how you can use core vocabulary words to be used for a variety of activities during your day. Plan out what you want to say and model it on their system just to make things a little easier. And then we're actually going to do some practicing where we can talk and touch the AAC during any activity. So we're here to guide you and walk you through this AAC journey. And we're going to add more activities to our bookshelf. So tonight we're adding the Play-doh, and then please watch for some new training opportunities for Stepping Stones to AAC coming this fall. So we are going to also start a poll and see who's here tonight with us. So what is your role with AAC? So it looks like a good portion of our audience tonight is speech-language pathologist or speech-language pathology assistants. Then we have parents and family and teachers here in about the same amount, some paraprofessionals, and then some others. So thank you. We appreciate you taking your time out of the evening to join us, and we hope to share some more good information with you. Let's begin our AAC journey and talk about what we're going to cover for today. So if you've attended our other Stepping Stones to AAC, you might recognize the same pattern. So we're going to pick our activity, which is going to be Play-doh and a little bit of blocks. We're going to choose our core words to target. We're going to plan questions with those core words. Then we're going to plan some comments with those core words. And then we're actually going to practice modeling either on the device or on a low-tech board. So picking an activity that your child already does and enjoys is a huge piece of creating real communication opportunities. If they have to focus on too many things like learning a new game or maybe a new exciting toy, it's more difficult to work on their language skills with the device. So let's remember, keep things simple and fun. Focus on that portion and just play and have fun. We're going to start out with a video of me playing with Play-doh and doing some self-talk. I couldn't convince my teenagers to join me to play Play-doh that day. I'm just going to use phrases that I normally would say while playing with someone during a Play-doh activity. And I want you to think about what words you hear most frequently while I'm talking, and think if they're similar to what you might say while you're playing with Play-doh. You can jot them down on your handout or scratch paper, or even share them in the chat window as you listen to this short video clip. What should we play today? Play-doh? All right. I do? Open it. Stuck. Help, please. Out. Squish, squish. What do we do next? Oh, roll. Where should I put it? Go in, go out, go in, go out. Now what do I do? Cut, 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 and squish, squish. I do it. All done Play-doh. Play-doh in. All right, so if you're thinking about what words you heard during that, and then here's a short clip. I want you to also think about what words you might use for playing blocks that are similar. What do we do today? Let's play blocks. Up, up, go up, go up. What should I do? Down, down, blocks down. Where should they go now? Over, up, block, up. I do it. Blocks, blocks up. So with those, if you were able to print the handouts, you should have a low-tech core board that looks like this one with you. And we can use that to look at what words we might want to model while we were doing those activities. So I like to use this as kind of a reference point until I get more comfortable with what core words are. It's good to just refer back to this. And when we think about modeling words for our AAC users, it's good to start by choosing some core words. They make up 80% of what we say. And so that's a lot of words that we can target, and for a variety of different reasons. We can use them not just in one activity. So many of these words we could use across a variety of things. And they include the verbs and the pronouns, the adjectives, the question words. And not to say that we don't want to use nouns, but we can use these a lot more and then add in those nouns too. So using your low-tech board as a reference, or if you have your child's device with you, let's think about 2 or 3 core words that we could target while we're playing with Play-doh or block. And once you become more comfortable with it, you can just on the fly start doing that. But for learning purposes, let's use our organization tool to help. Also, if you have a word of the week that you're using at your school, core word of the month, those kind of things, maybe start thinking about how you can incorporate those into these activities as well. So we're going to take out our organization tool. And so in the chat window, I see some have started. Thank you, Lisa. What are some core words that you heard me saying or things you would use when playing with Play-doh or blocks? So I see go, I see help, open, in and out, good. Any other words? Higher, those are good, yep. Oops, yep, on top, up. I love directional words. Put, good. All right. I threw in I. Yes, off was another one. Make, perfect. Got the idea. So some of the ones I chose to add to my sheet were go, do. I think it's good to start working on that, and I. But we could target all of those. We can put, make, in, out, all of those into our phrases as well. All right, so then the next step is to look at open-ended questions. And with open-ended questions, think about questions that cannot be answered with a yes-no response. We want to continue the conversation. We want to continue to grow language. And so using open-ended questions, we're able to do that. So looking at the questions on the screen, which one would you think is an open-ended question? Do you want some, or what should I do? Yay, you are correct. We can expand on that. There's so many possibilities for them to give you an answer, and it doesn't have to just stop with one word. So typically we would answer, do you want some? Yes or no. And what should I do? We can use those fun words like squish or stack or up, down. So let's look at our sheet again. And so we have go, do, and I. What are some open-ended questions that we might use to elicit the word go, or we could model the word go? I like to use a combination when I'm creating my questions. What should I do? Or where should it go? There, go. And sometimes we might just shorten it down to where go, if their language stage is a little lower, and that's okay. I like that. What happened to the Play-doh? Good one. Awesome. Let's think of some questions for do. I like it. Do next. Oops. Do you like? Awesome. Who will do it? Do more. Nice. I love the variety that you guys are coming up with. That's great. The more variety we have, the easier it is once we're in the moment. All right, how about questions to work on I? What can I do? Good. And sometimes I like to also kind of do the retell. What did I do? I do. And I go. Should I put it in, or you put it in? Can I do it? Good. All right, you guys definitely have that down. We'll head back over to my sheet and just some of the questions that I put in. Where does should this go? Who goes next? What did I do? So again, jotting down those questions, having them available so that you don't have to think about them during the activity. And then when we're first starting out, oftentimes our child is not going to respond to the open-ended question, or they're not immediately imitating or mimicking what you're doing, and that's okay. We want to give them some wait time, but it's good to prepare a couple comments that we could model in ways that they might respond to your question, or just have more comments available about the activity to model what they could be saying and what you're saying as well. And just remember, if they're only using one button or two buttons, one word, two words to start, we want to model just at or above their level. So having those combinations that we were showing earlier, where it's, you know, 2 words, 3 words, keeping it right around there. And don't worry about those complete sentences if they're not there yet. So if we go to our brainstorm sheet, what are some comments that we could make that would be in response to our questions of where should it go, or where go, or what happened, that would have go in it? How can we be modeling a response with go? Go up, good. Oops, wrong spot. Here we go. Go in, go on top. Perfect. You got it. All right. How about the comments we could make with do? Do it. Do more. I do it. Exactly. It's always great to make sure we're modeling the I and the you, because I love it when they start imitating in a general way. All right, and how can we model comments with I? That might be in response to our questions. What can I do? What did I do? I put on. I put in. I have to add my favorite, I squish. I love making the fun words and the fun noises. I like it. I need more. I did it. Awesome. And again, showing different contexts with each of those words. And there are phrases that we can use beyond just playing with Play-Doh or playing with blocks, which in my opinion is even better. So some of them I threw on here: go in, go roll, it go there, I do, you do it. In step 3, we want to prepare ourselves for what we might model at the 1-word level and what we might model with 2 or 3 words. Again, getting ourselves in the mindset and thinking about it ahead of time kind of relieves some of that stress, some of the anxiety of what am I going to say, what am I going to touch on the device. If your child's using more than that, adjust to their level and fill it in on here. But usually when we're first starting out and first learning this, thinking about those 1, 2, 3, 4 word utterances is perfect. Then we want to find the core words on the low-tech board or on your device, wherever you're going to be modeling, so that you can practice the talking and the touching of those words. Remember, just start out modeling those target words for now. As you get more comfortable, you can start doing a combination, but that's all right. And I see a question: should we avoid using core words from the same category, like pronouns or all verbs? You know, as long as you're doing a variety throughout things in one activity, it's okay. If you're only modeling action words or verbs, you know, they're all green words that day, great. Maybe we're really trying to build up more action words, or maybe they're already using a lot of verbs and we really want to start adding those pronouns. So maybe for an activity, you're just going to target all pronouns, and then you can kind of play and mix it up with your action words. So yeah, there's no like hard and fast rule with it. Follow your child's lead too. If they appear to be wanting to use some of those, take their lead. If they pointed to or used the word, you know, eat or go, now we can start modeling some phrases along with that. And again, as you start to become more comfortable with it, it becomes a little more natural to do it, and becomes a little more automatic. So on the low tech board, we're going to find where I, do, and go are. And again, practice ahead of time. Sit, you know, and practice touching the word and saying the word at the same time. As you do it more and more, then when we get to actually doing it during the activity, it feels a little bit less stressful. So we're going to watch the videos again, but this time you're going to see me talking and touching the low-tech board or the device during the videos. So here is the Play-Doh, and if you have your low-tech board out, feel free to practice those phrases and questions that you wrote down along with the video, or you can follow along with what I'm saying. What should I do? Open. Help. Squish, squish, squish. What should we do next? Roll. I roll. What should we do next? Cut. Cut, 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 cut. Where should they go? Go in. Go in. Go in. Go in. Go, go, go in. Now what should I do? Out. Squish, squish, squish. I do it. All done, Play-Doh. Go in. All right, and just another short one with the blocks, and this time modeling on a device. Oops. Blocks, okay. Blocks. Up. Where should they go? There. Blocks. My goodness. Which brings us to when we learn something new, it's always good to reflect on what we did and think about some questions. So going through the steps and practicing with the videos, what are some questions you still have? How do you feel when you're practicing modeling, talking and touching the device or touching a low-tech board? And what are some of the next steps you have for yourself? All right. Did you set up the page on the device? So it looked like there were blank squares. Karen, no, I was using the WordPower 60 basic file on a NovaChat device. And when you hit the word I, it then logically navigates to some next words. It then had a couple blank spots on there because it navigated to another page, but then it comes back to that home page. So good question. Lisa, when modeling, is it better to just work on one-on-one with a child, or can it be done in a group setting? Again, depending upon your kiddo, I've done both, and sometimes it's an attention thing. If they don't have good attention to what's going on, if they're distracted by what's going on around them, sometimes it's good to do that one-on-one. But as much as you can get them in their natural routines is great. Do you recommend hiding some buttons if they become overwhelmed? I do. If you're starting with a bigger vocabulary and they seem overwhelmed, hide it for that short period while you're working on it, but then also give them opportunities, unhide them as quickly as possible so that they have access to them. When we model, are there any guidelines on when we should expect them to start pushing the button? The research is kind of surprising, and I don't have the exact number with me, but it's something to the effect that it takes about 100 and 150 repetitions of them seeing it and being exposed to it before they become truly independent with a word. And so, again, some kids are going to pick up a lot quicker on certain words and some other words not as quick. So the more we can pause and give them that wait time after we model just to see if they're ready to do it, it's great. I see another one. I noticed when you were using the device, you didn't verbalize. And again, it's kind of a back and forth. I try to do it as much as I can where I'm saying both, but I have had some instances where teams said that was a little too overstimulating for a kiddo. And so I've been practicing both ways. As long as they're seeing that it connects with what I say and what I'm pressing, I think that's kind of the key for them. Yes, Lisa, thank you. Modeling without expectation is really important. Giving them that look like, hey, do you want to say something? And if they don't, that's okay. And kind of connecting it to how we teach, verbal kids, that we're talking at them and with them all the time, and we don't always expect them to repeat it right away. They get to listen to us, from infancy on, and we don't expect them to do anything quite yet. But letting them know that it's there, and if they want to try it, great. Any other questions? Any other thoughts or feelings? If they try it and press the wrong button, what do I do? That is a great question, Salma. I like to say, accept what they said and just kind of go with it. And maybe you're kind of questioning. So if they went to hit go, but they hit can, you can then model an appropriate thing of, oh, can you? and go from there, and then maybe go back to, oh, yep, you can do it, so that they can see how it is which word it's supposed to be. But you'd be surprised how often they kind of have their own thoughts in mind and put it in there. Thank you, Lisa. I'm glad you found it helpful and new experiences coming up. So yes, and keep your eyes open for more stepping stones to AAC, different topics coming up this fall. Brittany and I thank you, and Lisa, we thank you for joining us. If you have other questions, feel free to reach out to us or your local Saltillo consultant.